Spider-Man Homecoming is a 2017 American superhero film based on the Marvel comic character Spider-Man, co-produced by Columbia Pictures and Marvel Studios and distributed by Sony Pictures Releasing. It's the second Spider-Man film reboot and the 16th film in the MCU. The film was directed by John Watts from a screenplay writing team of Jonathan Goldstein and John Francis Daley, John Watts and Christopher Ford, Chris McKinney, Eric Summers, all respectively. And the film stars Tom Holland as Peter Parker, aka Spider-Man, along with Michael Keaton as the Vulture, Jon Favreau, Zendaya, Donald Glover, Tyne Daly, Marisa Tomei, and Robert Downey Jr. What's the film all about? Well, thrilled by his experience with the Avengers during from Civil War, young Peter Parker returns home to live with his Aunt May under the watchful eye of the mentor Tony Stark. Peter starts to embrace his newfound identity as Spider-Man. He also tries to return to his normal daily routine, distracted by the thoughts of proving himself to be more than just a friendly neighborhood Spider-Man. Peter must soon use his powers and put them to the test when the evil Vulture emerges to threaten everyone that he holds dear. Now, in February 2015, we all know the story that Marvel Studios and Sony reached a deal to share the character rights of Spider-Man Homecoming and integrated the character into the MCU. And then principal photography began in June 2016 and concluded on October 2016, and it premiered in Hollywood on June 28, 2017 and released in the US on July 7, 2017, and it grossed over 880 million worldwide, making it the second most successful Spider-Man film and the sixth highest grossing film in 2017. It received praise for the light tone and focus on Peter Parker's high school life and the performances of Tom Holland and Michael Keaton. And what do I like about this film? Well, let's talk about the good, and the good is that we finally get a proper Spider-Man. Like, we get the coolness of Andrew Garfield's performance mixed in with the, awkward nerdiness of Tobey Maguire, and we get the perfect live action adaptation of Spider-Man. Tom Holland is fine. It's literally those two mixed up. He kind of reminds me a bit more of Tobey Maguire because he looks a little bit more like him. He actually looks like a kid because he was 19 when he filmed this film, so he was practically a teenager. So I quite liked it. They finally got it right. I do like his version of Spider-Man. He's just a little, he's very kiddie like. He's compared to the previous two. He's very childlike. He's got this like childlike wonder and fascination. We saw that in Civil War. And it's brought more in this film. I really do like his kind of performance, and he does a really great job, to be honest with you. Michael Keaton as the Vulture is definitely possibly one of the best MCU villains, probably if not the best MCU villains, because this dude was kind of, you feel bad for him, because we're not spoiling too much. I mean, we'll say what's happening in the trailer. Well, Michael Keaton was basically forced out of business because Tony Stark's kind of cleanup operation team wanted to take over the damage control, and he basically lost his job, so he took some of the alien stuff and kind of got a couple of friends to kind of start this to sell the advanced weapons, but combine them with Earth technology and sell them to earn money. And yeah, the thing with this guy is that he's not a bad guy. He's not harming anyone. He's just doing what he needs to do to provide for his family. And as the film progresses, you start to realize that Peter and the Vulture may have a even stronger connection than they actually expected. I mean, I really do like this villain. He does a really good job. He is definitely the best Spider-Man villain so far. I absolutely do love it. I also kind of like Robert Downey Jr.'s performance as Tony Stark, like kind of being the mentor. He's kind of like the father figure of Peter Parker, if not like the Uncle Ben of the story. And obviously, if you know what happens in Endgame, it's very much like the Uncle Ben storyline in a way, but a bit different, to be honest with you. I thought he was quite cool. I love Zendaya as MJ. She's very strange and weird, but I like that. It's not the Mary Jane we're used to. It's a different version. Her real name is Michelle, but she just nicknames her name MJ. And I do like this performance. Marisa Tomei as May Parker. Oh my gosh, Oh my gosh, because this version was originally The original reports of the casting for her caused a massive backlash on social media, with comic fans opinion that the actress was too young and too attractive to portray the character, especially after the character has previously been depicted by actresses older than Tormain, and yeah. The thing is that Marissa Tomei in real life is actually 54. She's not really that young, but she looks young. She looks good for her age, you know. She's old, but you know, you gotta think that the previous Aunt Mays, especially the one from the first one, she was old, like she like grandma man, like in her 70s, if not 80s. Who has an aunt who's that old, you know? Like if Peter is 16 and he has an aunt who's like nearly 80, how old was his dad? Like, oh my gosh, you know. So I feel like having an aunt around this age makes sense, you know. And she isn't too young. She wasn't young. She was in her 50s. That's not young. What are you on about? Anyway, yeah, I do love this film. Also, I really do think the Spider-Man costume is definitely my favorite. The costume of Spider-Man in this film is definitely the coolest looking costume ever. Not just like the techno gizmo stuff, but the eyes. You know, normally when in the previous Spider-Mans, we don't really understand how Peter Parker's expression, you know, what emotion he's expressing, because he's just got that mask on and it's just like a normal dull mask. If you read the comics, you notice that his eyes do kind of change in a way, but in this film the suit and the upgrade technology suit allows the eyes to kind of like, you know, open wide, and has it kind of emotes, and it kind of, you know, gives it that more oomph to it. Plus, I really do like the design of it, but I don't like the little spider bit. It's not that cool in the center, but oh well. I love the design of the new Spider-Man costume. It's really cool, to be honest with you. The visual effects are much, much, much better. Particularly like the final sequence, which features the final like battle basically features them flying in the air. You know, I'm not gonna spoil too much, but that last sequence when they're like kind of flying in the air, and dude, that was sick. That was really dope and badass, you know. Like this plane sequence is really sick, you know. It's visually amazing, and this film has consistency that the previous films didn't have. Spider-Man would always be swinging in New York City, and that's literally, he'll always be swinging on skyscrapers. But what about the parts of New York that don't have skyscrapers, like not Manhattan, but Brooklyn? You know, like it's just normal housing areas. Like what would Spider-Man do? There's a sequence where Spider-Man is running through a garden because he can't swing on any buildings because there are no buildings or trees. He has to just run through a field, and it actually makes sense and just gives it that more realism, and it grounds it more into reality and makes it more believable, to be honest with you. I flipping love it. I also like the portrayal of Flash Thompson because even though he's a bully to Peter Parker, he's also a nerd, which kind of twists the whole thing. He's a smart guy and he's just jealous that Peter is just smarter than him, you know. I do like this different version of Flash, and Jon Favreau as Happy is always great to, you know, be in this film. Plus Donald Glover was in this film as well. All the actors and actresses do a really good job, you know. My mixed aspect of the film is definitely maybe the girlfriend interest. Like the girlfriend isn't as she's not as interesting as, you know, the previous girlfriends, you know, particularly Gwen Stacy, you know, like Laura Harrier, who portrays Liz. She's an okay actress, but I still feel like there's just not much to it. But obviously, it makes sense because, I mean, she's a cool character. The reason why it's missed is because even though she's not as interesting as previous girlfriends, she really, really has a big role in this film. And I'm not going to spoil it. Okay, I'm going to spoil it, you know. I like the film, go check it out, I recommend it, but now we're going to go to spoilers. You have to see it now, you've been warned. So, the girlfriend of Liz is related to the Vulture, Michael Keaton. It's her dad, and she has no idea about it. And when Peter finds out when he's going to take her to the homecoming dance, like, it's just shocking and unexpected. It's a big twist, and it really elevates the whole thing, because now Peter can't hurt the Vulture as much because it's his girlfriend's dad in a way, and I thought it was really cool and unexpected, to be honest with you. I thought that is a really, really, really good twist. Well done on them. But I still prefer MJ as the love interest over this one, to be honest with you. And the next film obviously does that in a way. And yeah, in terms of negatives of this film, I think the jokes are predictable and they don't land. I don't like the jokes in this film. I think there's too much too soon. Like, there's too many jokes and they don't always land, to be honest with you. There's this one joke gag with Peter running through a bunch of gardens as he's going to try and get the Vulture, and there's a screen that plays Ferris Bueller's Day Off, and it's that same sequence. The thing is that I feel like that joke would have worked without showing a big TV out in the garden. I mean, who plays a TV out in the garden like that, you know? Like, that was a bit dumb, to be honest with you. And like, some of the comedic gags are really predictable. You know what's gonna happen. You know what the character's gonna say. But apart from that, this is a really fun movie. You know, it's not my favorite Spider-Man film. It's not the best MCU film, but it is an enjoyable flick. Yeah, I recommend watching it on Blu-ray. You're gonna have a ball watching this film. I'm gonna give it a 7 out of 10. I'm gonna give it a B plus. Go check it out. But thank you for watching this review. Please like and share this video and comment down below and tell me what's your favorite Spider-Man flick. With that said, thank you for watching. As always, a Boydude review signing out.